Where is home? The home is where there is no sense of belongingness. The home is where there is no identity. What is identity? We stand different, but not seen differently. This is my journey into finding my real home. I am Rhys Howells. I am 22 years old and I am from Wales but now living in London. When I initially came out, I was the only gay person in the school, so I didn't really have anybody that could understand my experience. A lot of people thought I was doing it for negative attention or just for attention in general. Because people haven't been around other walks of life, it was a secluded area with, I think, a lot of religious beliefs, a lot of really neurotypical family values. So I think when it came to gay exposure, there just wasn't any. People couldn't broaden their horizons because they hadn't been around people like myself. What I really struggled with for a long, long time was the fact that throughout a lot of my life, people haven't really respected me. I had it growing up. People would say things down the corridor. I remember I stopped going to PE lessons because I didn't want to be in the change room with the boys because I was worried people were going to say things to me. And I think that it's just things like that are unfortunate, but I kind of just become immune and expect them now. Since moving to London 4 months ago, I've been able to take the first steps in achieving my dream. Becoming a professional drag queen. In all honesty, it was quite surreal because from a really young age, I've idolised these drag queens on television, drag queens I've seen on stage, and the primary focus and reason that I wanted to pursue drag was to perform. So even though I am highly critical and I know that this is just the beginning of my drag career, I feel really proud of myself for doing it. This is me at probably about 3 years old. I was wearing a wizard costume. I'd take the trousers off underneath and pretend it was a dress. Then fast forward to 2016, I was in year 11. I was going to prom. I decided to wear heels. It feels like quite an innocent photo. I just remember at the time I was in quite a tumultuous headspace. So as much as the photo is a happy photo, I just wish that maybe that version of myself hadn't had to endure what I had to endure. It was our last year in school and we wanted to do the talent show, and I remember just thinking if we did the Spice Girls, how iconic and fun it would be. I feel a lot more self-assured and confident in that one because I'm living with two of my best friends. I'm in a city where, obviously there is still issues with homophobia. It is just, the city is so much more populated than Wales itself. Hi Josh, nice to speak to you. I wanted to speak to Josh Bainan, a local county councillor in Pembrokeshire who had spoken out recently about the homophobic abuse he had received. Had been in this article with the BBC that he'd received a lot of abuse in regards to sexuality. I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so just a little bit about me. So I'm an elected county councillor in Pembrokeshire, so quite a rural county in West Wales, and openly gay man as well. And as a result of me just doing my job, I had a lot of homophobic abuse from individuals, and most of that was actually online, social media. Some of it was through my door as well. So that's essentially what happened, and that's what you're alluding to when you talk about the article.
Do you feel rural attitude played a fundamental role in the homophobia?
I would definitely say yes from my experience. I have never experienced anything like that in an urban or city environment, and I know it does happen, and I know I don't live there, but I speak to colleagues across the whole of the United Kingdom who are in local government, and they haven't experienced it to a level that I have, and I do think that is driven by those rural attitudes that exist.
How would you say going forward you could make Pembrokeshire a more inclusive environment and community?
I think there needs to be support. And when I say support, I think it's up to kind of public bodies and organizations to pull people together, people of LGBTQ plus, it could be ethnic minorities, whatever it is. I think it's up to those bodies to actually pull people together, because in rural places, you have to remember it's very isolated. And I think following on from the other side of that as well, I think we need to kind of see more action as well from an education perspective to stop it from happening, and be preventative. And then also from a kind of police action to actually come in at that end and say, well, actually, no, this is wrong. We're going to take action. And I think those three things together could actually make quite a big difference. And I know would have made a difference to me.
Wow, amazing. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate it. After talking to Josh, it was a chance for me to reflect on the isolation I felt coming out in a rural town. And in a strange way, it felt reassuring to know that I wasn't alone in feeling like this. But I wanted to know what it was like for others who grew up in urban areas. I met up with Justin, who had lived in London his whole life.
Hi, how are you? Right.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Rhys.
I'm Justin. You good? Thank you. So I was in quite a lucky position, the fact that my older cousin, she's 2 years older, she is a huge lesbian. So it was really easy for me to come out, actually. I was 18 when I finally decided to come out, and everything was fine. It was a family party. Everyone, I've got a big announcement to make. I'm gay. A few seconds of like, okay, cool, got back to it, so I switched the music back on. And I thought everything was fine. Sort of thought so, but then it turned out later when my parents got home that night, my dad was like, I'm not having a gay man living in my house. You need to choose who. My mum was like, well, obviously I'm going to choose my son. So that created a lot of tension. My brother was there at the time, sort of like told my dad to go.
Well, so I had a really good friend, and then I realised, oh God, I think I'm attracted to him. And then, a situation kind of occurred, but it was just like a year of this toxic back and forth of we went out, who could we tell, we're not anything, we were something. And it was really, really emotionally disruptive to like my learning, like emotionally.
So I'd love to know, like, what was your idea, like, what was your dream of London? Was it like, what age did you think I want to move to London? That's where I can be me. Because I've never got the chance to.
Yeah, because I guess it's not.
Get up and go and be me, and I want to finally spread my wings.
I think I had moved to London in that, like, the final straw for me was quality of life, because back home, well, I don't even know if it's home or back in Wales, I would go out and my identity was just being the gay one. People would just know me as the gay one. I would constantly have people blowing kisses, taking the piss out of me. I wouldn't feel comfortable using the toilets. I would be expected to go out. So I was like, do you know what? I want to be around a much larger volume of diversity. And to be honest, in that sense, I've achieved it. Like, I walk down the street now and I see the world that I genuinely want to live in. It is so multicultural, it is so diverse, and there is nobody that looks the same. Whereas where I'm from, it was boring, mundane and judgmental, and it was just all the same. It was interesting to hear how, although Justin and I had grown up in two very different environments, that our experiences weren't too far apart. After coming to London, I've been able to take opportunities I don't think I would have had in Pembrokeshire. Here I can have recognition of my dreams. Everything seems to be falling into its place.
Are we ready for our last one?
I would say after listening to a podcast recently with Jodie Comer, she said, you don't regret the mistakes you made, but the chances you never took will haunt you. And that's a philosophy I live by. I think that for so long I was worried about what people thought about me, my gender expression, fancying boys, but in reality, you are going to look back on your life and think, why didn't I just do that? Why did I let fear control me? And I think to anybody coming up in a rural area that feels isolated or doesn't have the confidence to authentically be themselves, do it for you and don't let fear control you.